me, we have Dr. Wayne Knowles, who is the Executive Secretary of the South Leeward Conference, and we have Mrs. Campbell Edwards, the principal of our secondary school, the Antigua and Barbuda Secondary School, Seventh Adventist Secondary School. I am Dr. Carson Green, President of the South Leeward Conference of Seventh Adventists, and we're delighted to come your way today just to have a conversation with our principal. We're talking about Adventist education this morning. We're talking about what the Adventist school offers. We're letting you know that the Adventist school is a very viable choice for you to send your children. Let me allow the other two persons in the studio to greet you, Dr. Knowles, and then Mrs. Edwards.
Good morning, and it's certainly a joy of mine to greet you on behalf of the Seventh Adventist School and in general Christian education. I hope that our sitting and conversation today will be beneficial to you, being inspired to send someone, encourage someone, sponsor someone, or even pray for Christian education through the Seventh Adventist Church system.
Mrs. Edwards.
Good morning. It's a privilege to be here today to share with you on some of the things that happens at the Seventh Adventist School here in St. John's.
Maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyhow. Happy birthday to you, Mrs. Edwards. Today is your birthday. We're delighted.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
That's a bright smile. I should also say to those of you who are joining us via our social media platforms, we welcome you and trust that our short interview today will prove meaningful. I want to begin by letting you know that Mrs. Edwards, our principal, has been serving as principal at the Antigua and Seventh Adventist School for just a little while, maybe about how many years, Mrs. Edwards?
Since 2021.
2021. So you kind of guided the school through the height of the COVID situation there.
Right after COVID.
Right after. And I do understand that our schools during COVID were quite up there, ready to transition to the online environment. Well, for those of you who may be wondering, who is Mrs. Edwards, Mrs. Campbell Edwards? Well, she is a young lady who has given herself to God's service, always had a desire to serve God. I am pleased to indicate that she comes well equipped. She has a master's in educational leadership. She has a master's in, is it human resource management? And you have a third master's. I can't quite remember what it is. What is it?
Project management.
Project management. So that's quite a lot of studying. Delighted to have you. What has been your experience like being at the helm of the school?
Well, I'll say it's all about prayer and work. Prayer, because without God, then surely everything will crumble. And we know that we have to put the work in. So it's all about putting, the actions along with the faith to be able to get to where we envision the school to go.
Very well. Dr. Knowles, you are a graduate of the Antigua Seventh Adventist School. I understand you also taught at the school for a while.
Well, you missed one word. That is, I'm a proud graduate
All right.
of
Okay.
the secondary school. Proud in the fact because I was in the first graduation class. The one that had ceremony. You graduate, but without the ceremony. So I saw my pictures at the school in the auditorium.
Okay.
Because they were displayed as the first graduation class. It was a very positive experience for me as a student of the Seventh Adventist School, and also it was a very positive experience as a teacher in the primary school. I taught there for a year and a half, from 1995 until halfway into 1997. So I give God thanks for the journey that has helped to shape me for who I am today. And I want to encourage everyone who has the means and the capacity and the will to send your children to the school or support someone to do so.
Well, I had to just stick that in. I know that you are not being interviewed, you are interviewing Mrs. Edwards, but I thought it's interesting that you are a good example of someone who came through the ranks and is in a position now where you are quite a leader. And it's just an example of some of the kinds of individuals that the school produces.
Yeah, and as it relates to the journey, I was part of the interview panel, actually chairing the panel when we interviewed Mrs. Edwards for principalship, and she came out as our top recommendation, and so far we are happy for what we have been seeing. And so, what has your journey been like? I don't know if you've taught at any other school, but being a principal of the Seventh Adventist School, a Christian institution.
Well, it's different. I did teach at another school, not here in Antigua. It is much different to that system because, of course, it was not a Seventh-day Adventist school system. And so being here, there are so many differences. The first thing I can talk about is the fact that at the Seventh-day Adventist school, we're teaching children to get to know God.
Right.
Because for us, being at the school is missionary service.
Right.
And any teacher who's at the school, even now, all of our teachers, they are baptized Seventh-day Adventist members. And so we get the opportunity to not only help the boys and girls to learn the secular subjects, the math and the English, which we do very well, by the way, but we also help to shape their character. It's about character development. It's about developing that relationship with God and maintaining that relationship with God. And for us, that is crucial. So my journey has been one where when I see young men and young women giving their hearts to Jesus, then it makes me happy that I'm a part of this missionary experience.
Wonderful. I like your answer because I taught government as well.
Okay.
And I went to a government school as well. So I have the experience of being a student, both at government and Adventist school, and having taught my alma mater, both places. I went back to John New School to teach, and then I went back to the Adventist school to teach as well. So I rather like the emphasis you have here because that's a similar experience that I had. Transitioning from the government system to the Christian institution where you can freely share, especially in subject areas and even connecting with parents, the value of certain principles you're trying to, share with the children as well. So that dynamic to me is a key asset. And I've been able to see some of these children remain in the school, having had relationships with the parents, and also to move on to university level.
Yes.
I want to follow up on that because I think this is so important. In our culture today, in our society rather, we know that there is the challenge of youth.
Right.
And we have issues with young men dropping out of school, getting into gangs. We have issues with children, young ladies becoming pregnant at 13 and 15, etc. When you come to the Seventh Adventist School, because you're talking about, we're going to deal with the academics in a little while, but I want to focus on this character development. We do something called integration of faith and learning.
Correct.
So if you could expand on that a little bit, and how does this help people in terms of their choices, in terms of understanding that I am not just another statistic, but I'm a child of God?
Okay. So at our school, for every subject area, no matter what subject it is, then we teach the faith. We integrate the faith in the lesson. So whatever the concept that is being taught, the faith is introduced in the lesson as well. So let's say, for example, I don't know, I'm teaching biology and I am talking about atoms maybe. I am going to bring in something related to God, related to the Seventh-day Adventist faith, about that corresponds with the topic of atoms. And this is done in every subject area right across the board, every class. So that, and when we do that, we give the children the opportunity to grow in their spiritual experience. Right. They're not seeing Christianity in a vacuum outside of everything else. And, you go to church on Sabbath or those who go to church on Sunday, they go to church and that's it. No, it's a lifestyle for us. So we have to integrate our faith into every aspect of our everyday dealings with our young people.
Excellent.
And because of that, then it helps them to better understand who they are. It better helps them to know their value, to know their self-worth. And so some of the challenges that other students would have outside of the Seventh-day Adventist school, we really don't have those challenges.
Now, I sometimes hear people give comments like, well, maybe I should not send my child to the Seventh Adventist school because they don't offer certain subjects. So let's go to academics now. What subject offerings do you have?
Currently, we offer 20 subjects at the CSEC level.
20? Wow.
20 subjects at the CSEC level. And this includes the science subjects. So the science subjects, the physics, the chemistry, the biology, the integrated science, those are there. Physical education, I hear persons talking about the fact that at the Seventh-day Adventist school, we don't get involved in sports. Of course we do. We have a trained coach who's a member of staff. Internationally trained coach who is a member of staff. So, of course we do, but we keep it within our sphere because we have to understand too that as much as we want our boys and girls to remain healthy, we try to help in terms of controlling what happens. So for us, that is important. Then we have the geography and the social sciences. So geography and social studies, we do those. Of course, there's English, clearly. And we have math. We have art and music. So we're talking about now the areas where we realize that many of our young people, they want to get involved in terms of using their hands. We have other physical activities as well where they get involved. So we try to give them a rounded curriculum so that our boys and girls can excel in various areas that they feel more comfortable. Remember, not all of our students are going to want to be doctors. So not all of them will want to do biology, physics, chemistry. We have to cater to the needs and the learning styles and just what they desire, their talents of our young people.
Well, how have our students been performing? Tell me about the CXC passes. At the end of the day, a parent may say, well, I like the fact that you're doing faith and learning, but what kind of results and how, for example, do we compare with the government school with our mathematics passes and those kinds of things? So could you give us an idea of the school's performance?
All right, I will say since 2016, our school has never gone below 80%.
Pass rate.
Pass rate.
Wow.
CXC pass rate. It has never gone below. As a matter of fact, last school year, we were number 3 on island. We were number 1 within the Caribbean Union. So in terms of pass rate, we're passing physics, chemistry, biology, those difficult subjects. We're getting 100% pass rates in those subjects. The mathematics, that is very challenging for most of our young people across the region. We're averaging more than the region itself. We're averaging above the Antiguan average even. So it's not that the Seventh-day Adventist school is not performing. We are actually performing. We're right up there with all the other, I don't want to use the word elite schools.
More expensive.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah. So we're given the same kinds of results at a far less cost.
Yes.
That's important.
Yeah, I just want to add there's a unique component to Christian education that you can't pay for.
Right.
And that is the Christian values.
Right.
So in as much as we get the academics, we also get the Christian values as well, which is, the most significant aspect of a person's life. So we do create that balance,
Right.
the social, the spiritual, and the physical. And I just want to commend the school. I heard you had a wonderful sports day just the other day.
Just last week.
Just last week.
We don't yet know the results, but what we do know is that a couple of the houses were doing extremely well, I will say.
Well, I'm rooting for Yellow House. As a principal, you may not be able to say which house you're rooting for.
Well,
But what I discovered is that all the shirts have yellow on them. So where there's red house, there's yellow letters. Where there's blue house, there's yellow letters. And the yellow house has, I think, red letters.
So what are you trying to say, Pastor?
I'm saying yellow all the way. Yellow all the way.
well, I'll keep silent on that
I
one.
cannot comment.
Hallelujah. But I passed by a couple times and saw, excellent running and some athletics. And I just want to compliment
And we do have,
Miller.
we do have some very tremendous, talented students. They are
Right.
so talented. And, when you see them, when they're not within the classroom atmosphere,
Right.
and you see the other aspect to their lives, you're just so thankful for the progress that they are making.
Wonderful.
And then you didn't mention this, but I just want to mention also that we recently had our week of prayer. And one of our speaker for the week of prayer was actually a past student. I
he
taught
was.
him some years ago,
Right.
and he came back to do the week of prayer. And out of the week of prayer effort, 8 students gave their hearts to Jesus.
Amen.
I'm happy for that qualification because I'm an old past student, so I'm glad
No,
you
it's a
qualify as a young, recent enough
Yes,
graduate,
yes.
and that's powerful. That's powerful.
I mean, it's impressive that a young man can be so influenced by the impact of Christian education that he can now encourage other children along a spiritual path.
Right.
That is great.
Yes.
Now, can we talk about the teachers? I wanted to go back to the subject areas because I know that consistently we do well in subjects like technical drawing and
Right.
and physics and those kinds of things. But your teachers, what are the kind of qualification levels of your teachers?
Well, our teachers are highly qualified, I will say that. We have a teaching staff of 17 persons, and of the 17, with the exception of one teacher, everybody else is degreed. The person who is not degreed, well, she does have an associate's degree, but everybody has
At least
either
bachelor's.
at least a bachelor's degree. A number of them do have also master's degrees. So all of our teachers are degree teachers. Okay?
Very well.
And then outside of the degrees, we do also have teachers who are teacher trained. And from the school's perspective and the church's perspective, for those teachers who might not be teacher trained, there's the program of the teacher's certification program, where the teachers will now have to do additional courses to get them qualified as a certified teacher. So the misconception, I'd like to break that. Our teachers are highly qualified and they are willing to do their best to work with every single boy or girl who comes through the gates of Seventh-day Adventist Secondary School.
Wonderful.
I understand that the school also has to comply with some international standards. There is something called accreditation.
Yes. So for us, simply put, let me just simplify. Accreditation is getting the school or ensuring that the school is in compliance with the requirements of the World Church.
Right.
Okay? So whatever we do at the school, it should comply with what the ideal is based on the other schools within either the Caribbean region, the union, or even by extension, from the General Conference.
That's the World Church.
From the World Church, right. So it simply means that for us, we have an accreditation upcoming. The primary school already did theirs sometime in February. For us, we are looking forward to it. And what that does is that for us, we have to show that the school is being managed in a manner that is in alignment with the World Church.
Amen.
Okay, we have 3 minutes, or just about 4 more minutes. Quickly, can you share some of the other successes of the schools? What are some of the other things? You know, we have academics and We know that you talk about the sports day and those kinds of things. But do our children get involved in other areas?
Yes, they do. They do. Like I've been saying, for us, it's really holistic, and so we try to help with all aspects of their development. And so we have encouraged our students to get involved in different areas. So we had the FinTech Challenge. Last year, there were 2 FinTech challenges that our young people were a part of. For one of them, well, for both, they won actually. One of them, both of them, they competed against other schools within Antigua, and they even competed with schools outside of Antigua, and even with schools within the tertiary level. And they were successful in both events, to the point that they were able to be a part of the team that represented Antigua in Greece last school year.
So let me see if I get you right. You're saying that one of these FinTech challenges did not just include secondary school, but also regional universities.
Yes, that's what I'm
And
saying.
the children from the Seventh Adventist school came out on top.
Yes, sir. That's
So,
what I'm
so
saying.
that to me is real success.
It is. It
Amen.
is. As a matter of fact, I tell you, our young people are very talented. Just last year, we had 2 students who were within the CSEC, how do you say, at the end of the CSEC exams, when exams are graded and so on, within the Caribbean itself, we had 2 students who were among the highest ranking from our school within the Caribbean. I think Lemario Clark and don't remember who now. Probably shouldn't have called names. but
FinTech, what when you say FinTech, what are you referring to for the
one
listener?
moment, let me just finish this thought. Because these students, they were among the top qualifiers for CXC
Right. That's
In the
tremendous.
whole region.
In the whole region.
within the entire region.
That's tremendous, yes.
Okay. Now for the FinTech Challenge, every year, whether it's from the how do I say, the Ministry of Education, or there's another arm to it, they normally put together these challenges. It involves, how do you say, IT related
Right.
challenges that the children are a part of, and then of course the most successful team would come out on top.
Right. Okay. So it's IT. Excellent.
IT related.
Excellent.
Okay, so we have to close now. It is appropriate to ask you, if a parent out there is listening, they may not even be a Seventh Adventist, but they want to send their child to the Seventh Adventist school. Is that possible?
It is possible. Parents, I will say this. You do not have to be a Seventh-day Adventist to be among the students at the Seventh-day Adventist school. As a matter of fact, right now we have a 66 to 34 ratio. So we do have 66% Adventists as opposed to 34% who are non-Adventists. So we do cater to everybody. But what I will say is that our environment is one which caters to the holistic development of your child. And so we encourage you, stop by. Right now we're in recruitment stage. So stop by and we can take your application.
Okay, thank you so much. Pastor Knowles, any final word?
Well, I just want to endorse everything our principal has said. The St. Adventist School is the best school, and I am a testimony of that. And I just want to encourage every parent to have that faith that God will be able to provide, not just financially, but socially, academically, and spiritually for your child through the Adventist education system.
And I do understand that our school is one of the more affordable private schools.
Yes.
It is.
All right. So stop by the school, get your application forms today. And thank you so much, Mrs. Edwards. It was a pleasure sharing with you. God bless you all.
Thank you.